We made it, folks. Training camp is here. Quarterbacks and rookies reporting today. And perhaps Chris Jones, well, he tweeted something pretty interesting that we'll get to here in a little bit. I'm Harrison Graham. Welcome into the Chiefs Report. We'll talk Chris Jones. Plus, Andy Reid had some interesting comments about his mindset when it comes to joint practices. So found that interesting. Wanted to share that with all of you. But can we break our likes record from last month? We got 1,494 likes on one video in the month of June. Can we get to 1,500 today? I get it. It's lofty. It's a big goal here. But all you got to do is just tickle that like button. Just click it. It is very, very easy. It helps us out. And more Chiefs fans can learn about the channel. So if you want to do that for us, we would greatly appreciate it. Let's set a record compared to last month. All right, Chris Jones tweeting out, I'm ready for training camp. Seems like a simple tweet, right? Well, it caught people's attention because of some comments he made after OTAs. We'll get to those in a minute. The Chiefs did not waste any time, by the way. They jumped on this, tweeted this out. I'm ready for training camp with Chris Jones there on Instagram. So I think that's pretty funny. Like, hey, you said it, man. And the reason this caught people's attention is, remember, and we talked about this on the channel last month, what he said after OTAs and minicamp. He said, listen, man, I've already been talking to Andy about let me skip out on training camp. I'm a little older, right? I can feel it. I can feel when we have a day on training camp. Give me like 2 days off and 1 day on then. And maybe we can work something out. Reid just looked at me, so the conversation is still ongoing. And certainly sounds like he's going to be there for its entirety. Now, let me be clear. I do think he's in the category of having an occasional veteran day off, like him, Kelsey. These are your aging stars that you want healthy in January. They don't have to go balls to the wall every day in training camp. But that doesn't mean it's 2 days off, 1 day on either. You got to find a balance there. And he seems to be amped to get camp going here. And it's nice to get these guys into the swing of things. And look, remember last year, Chris Jones skipped camp, missed the opener, and it took him a few games to get going as he was holding out before he kind of ramped up. So it's nice to get that process started here in July instead of September like last year. So that should be music to your ears if you are a Chiefs fan. And look, Chris Jones, while he's played through a lot of injuries, he's also had a lot of injuries. He's had some wear and tear, 30 years old and having to deal with 11 different injuries. And look, the reality of being a treacherous player in the NFL is you're always going to have something, right? Injury management is critical. Can you fight through certain things? He's been able to do that pretty well. He's a guy that's been on the field quite a bit. But if you're looking for him to be effective at a high level at 33, 34, 35, well, starting at 30 is kind of when you have to figure out how you balance his participation. But it certainly seems like he'll be full. I don't think that'll slow him down. But, hey, give him the occasional vet day off. He doesn't have to go balls to the wall. But, again, it's important for him to be there right now, whereas compared to last year, again, he wasn't there until September when they came to terms on that revised one-year contract last year. Obviously, you're talking about one of the premier players in the National Football League here in Chris Jones. He's just a game wrecker. I mean, you don't win the Super Bowl without him. That play inside the 10-yard line where Purdy had Brandon Ayuk wide open, couldn't get it to him in time because Chris Jones just blew that play up. So it's going to be exciting to get him back in the building here and hit the ground running as this team tries for a third straight Super Bowl. What do you guys think? Over, under 10 sacks for Chris Jones. Type O for over or U for under. If he's healthy, plays all 17, I feel good about him hitting double-digit sacks, so I'll type my O for over. Here's to see what Chiefs Kingdom thinks. All right, guys, we got a deal alert for you guys. Chiefs Travis Kelce Super Bowl jerseys for 50% off. What a steal. Take advantage while you can. Chatsports.com/Kelce58 for Super Bowl 58, of course. Chatsports.com/Kelce58. Get yourself a Super Bowl Chiefs Travis Kelce jersey right now. It's a collector's item. Take advantage. 50% off. Link is in the comments and the description. Chatsports.com/Kelce58. All right, Andy Reid spoke out as well, and he is not a big fan of joint practices, and he's made comments before, but this felt pretty strong, so I kind of want to read out what he said, and then I'll kind of give some of my thoughts on it. He said, "Been a lot of opportunities to do it, but probably from a selfish standpoint in today's world with technology, there's not a lot of secrets. You have your coaching points, teaching points, you try to teach on the field, and I really don't want anyone hearing that. That's my own personal feeling. As much as I can keep in-house in today's world, I want to do so. I think you give up a little bit of that when you work with them, and some of these things get a little out of hand. Things happen with the competition." And I agree with Andy Reid, especially for where the Chiefs are as a franchise. Now, I personally, just as an NFL consumer and fan, I like joint practices. It ramps up the competition. But if you're the Chiefs and everybody's hunting for you, why would you open that door, right? Like, I totally understand where he's coming from, because for most of his coaching career, he's been at or near the top of the NFL. Even with Philadelphia, when they weren't winning Super Bowls, but they were going to the NFC Championship game a lot. Like, why would he do a joint practice with another NFC contender? Like, it doesn't really help him. Like, if you have two young teams with young coaches, like, yeah, it's a different deal. But I think from the Chiefs' standpoint, his mindset, him being an old school guy, like, yeah, I totally get it. Like, these aren't state secrets, but it's like the Chiefs probably look at this like, we're not going to benefit from this joint practice that much, so why go through the formality of it when everybody's trying to catch up to us since we're the standard in this league? So I think it makes perfect sense why he would have this mindset. Do you wish the Chiefs did joint practices, though? Type Y for yes, in for no. It would give this team a little more juice in July and August, just from a fan perspective. Like, if you're a diehard fan, because, look, if you're a lifelong Chiefs fan, at this point, it's like you're just ready for the real games to start, like training camp. Like, it's fun, it's cool, but it's like you really want the games to get going. So, yeah, joint practice might add a little more something to look forward to. But, again, I do agree with Andy Reid when it comes to that standpoint. And, listen, too, the Chiefs are trying to employ new pieces, right? Like, they have things to figure out themselves this year. Left tackle, some rookies. What are they going to do at the wide receiver position with all this competition? So they don't feel the need to display those things. And, as much as the playoff run was incredible last year, like, I think Kansas City self-recognizes, like, hey, like, we got some things we got to clean up. Like, last year was not a Andy Reid, Patrick Mahomes standard team, at least in the regular season. I mean, you just compare 22 and 23, and obviously every year is different. You're not going to replicate the same exact success year over year, but that's a big drop-off in a lot of areas. Over 128 points, over 1,000 yards less this past season. Yards per play was down a yard, had 5 more turnovers, 58 less first downs. Like, across the board, you were worse offensively. Now, there's a lot of reasons for that. You led the NFL in drops. I think even Patrick Mahomes would say, yeah, like, I had a good year, but it wasn't my best year. But you also trust those two guys, Kelsey. You've got the right guys in place to get this back on track. And the beauty is they put it all together in the playoffs for the most part. That Baltimore game was kind of a slugfest, but they made the plays when they had to. And look, last year was more of a defensive-laden team. That happens over the course of a dynasty. It's not going to be the same type of team every single year in a salary cap sport. Like, you got to pick and choose. When they traded Tyreek Hill, they lost explosiveness. Like, they used those resources to get a Trent McDuffie, a George Karlaftis, and kind of stout that defense out a little bit more. So, Patrick understands that. And but at the same time, like, that doesn't mean dropping off 15% as an offense year over year is what they want either. So certainly going to get back to the drawing board a little bit there and tighten some of those things up. How confident are you in the Chiefs offense this season? Scale it up from 1 to 100. I'm pretty confident, man. When you have Mahomes and Reid running the show, I feel pretty good. Is it going to be the number one offense in the NFL? I doubt it. I don't think you have enough high-level playmakers offensively, but it should be back in the top 10 and potentially top 5. And if the defense continues to play well, that's really all you need or that's really all you need when if the game's close late, you got the right guy in charge to win those type of games. All right, appreciate everybody for tuning in. Again, we are trying to break our record from last month in likes on this video, so 1,500 likes. What say you, Chiefs Kingdom? Hit that like button on the way out, and we'll see you guys next time.